Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, do you want to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Gaunita, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees? So, we're continuing with the Sanatan Dharma series. So, well, what we are doing, all of the series of classes that we're doing now are in connection with Sanatan Dharma. In terms of the scriptures, the information comes from several scriptures. One is the Bhagavad Gita. Next is the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, and also the Brahma Samhita. These are the three principal scriptures that we are getting this information from. And what we are trying to do is give an idea of what Sanatan Dharma means and how it applies to us in our lives. And especially today's session, we were wanting to look at values and culture of Sanatan Dharma. Is that okay, Madhuban?
So that's all. Whatever we're learning is connection from different book.
Different books.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Different books.
Okay. No, you're not taking straight away from one book. This is the different book collection. Yeah.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. Thanks. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you.
Just 1 second. Okay. So values and culture. This distinguishes us from animals. These values and cultures, who simply eat, sleep, mate, defend. Otherwise, we are regarded as two-legged animals, dvipada pashu. So if we don't have any values or culture, then how are we any different from the animals? Because the animals, they also eat, they also sleep, they also mate, they also defend. And if we do only that, eat, sleep, mate, defend, then there's no difference between us and the animals. So, of course, there's nothing wrong with animals because they are animals. They're not expected to do more than eat, sleep, mate, defend. But we are. As humans, we can distinguish between right and wrong, and we can improve ourselves constantly by study, education, and learning to apply ourselves according to that education. So this is the verse actually, which talks about in the Hitopanisha, Hitopadesh. Both animals and humans share the activities of eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But the special property of the humans is that they are able to engage in spiritual life. Therefore, without spiritual life, humans are on the level of animals. That's a very interesting point. And this is the verse in the Bhagavatam 599. Is that the same? Okay. Okay, it's a little different in here. No problem. Sacha prakate dvipada pashubhir unmata. Degraded men are actually no better than animals. The only difference is that animals have 4 legs, and such men have only 2. They are two-legged animalistic men. So we want to, of course, avoid that category because we want to aim for a very healthy spiritual life. Values equate to moral codes, common sense based around Dharma, and apply universally to humans. Focus on values and culture encouraged by Sanatan Dharma to uplift our consciousness to a spiritual level. So it's quite important to try to understand the different codes of how to live in this world, and apply it to our lives. So what are the codes? Well, there's 4 pillars of Dharma by which those in Sanatan Dharma live. Daya, mercy, is one. That equates to non-violence. And that can be non-violence through both our action and our mind as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a while. Truthfulness, which equates to not gambling. Cleanliness, no illicit relationships with the opposite sex or even the same sex nowadays. Austerity, no intoxications, no alcohol or drugs like that. So these are the 4 pillars of Dharma. And it is said that in Kali Yuga, really, there's only one pillar left, which is this truthfulness. All the others have pretty much disappeared completely. Even truthfulness is pretty rare nowadays. It's good quality, but it's pretty rare to see in people. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 64, Krishna says, Raga Dvesha Vimuktaischa Tu Vishayan Indriyais Charan Atma Vashair Vidhet Yatma Prashadam Adi Gachati. One who can control his senses by practicing the regulated principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord and thus become free from all attachment and aversion. Sometimes people think that these rules and regulations limit us, but actually, look at this, what is translated, regulated principles of freedom. Actually, these rules and regulations can free us from bondage in this material world. So let's have a look at some of these points. Mercy, first one, first pillar, non-violence. Non-violence is the first principle. Ahimsa paramo dharma. So non-violence through our actions. So Bhagavad Gita 17:14 talks about that. Non-violence through our words, speaking pleasing words. 17:15 is, and then non-violence through our thoughts as well. So even our thoughts, we're not thinking bad things, non-violently, wanting to hurt somebody or speak to somebody in a bad way. So even our thoughts are controlled. So that equates in terms of actions to having a vegetarian diet. Maybe a vegan diet, but I'm not so convinced that veganism is in accordance with Sanatan Dharma, because milk is considered quite an important part of human life. It's of course very important for the Gomata and her child, a calf, but simultaneously, milk is regarded important because it increases the nourishment given to the body of the human being, as well as it increases the intelligence, develops the brain tissues. So Gomata's milk is very important for us. Of course, nowadays Gomata is heavily exploited. So it's very understandable when people say, we shouldn't drink cow's milk. But, we have to find a way of somehow having access to this very important ingredient in our lives. Plants, etc., also have life, but we are allowed to eat. And Bhagavad Gita 9:26, where Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Param Toyam, that one can offer me a flower, fruit, water, and leaf, I will accept it. He doesn't say, you offer me a chicken or something like that. But plants are still alive, right? So when we cook the plants or the vegetables or the fruit or whatever it is, we offer it to God. We offer it to God. Otherwise, we're simply eating sin. And this is in the Bhagavad Gita 3:13. Krishna is very clear that food offered to him becomes sinless food. Very important. So that's non-violence. Then we're looking at truthfulness, no gambling. So truthfulness. Satya is a universal principle. It's the last leg standing for Dharma in Kali Yuga. So all the other three pretty much destroyed. But truthfulness has some aspect available still. And this is explained by Krishna in 1715. Gambling is discouraged because gambling is regarded as being untruthful. And the example is Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata, because he was compelled to gamble. As a Kshatriya, he could not say no to a challenge, but the challenge was a gambling match. And Kshatriyas cannot shy away from a challenge. So he was obliged to take part in the gambling. And unfortunately, that resulted in some very unfortunate behavior by the Kauravas, and Mother Draupadi was disgraced, and so many things happened, which ultimately led to the downfall of the Kaurav empire. And of course, Krishna is the ultimate absolute truth. Another example we can quote about Krishna being the ultimate absolute truth is when Yudhishthira in the battle of the Mahabharata, Krishna advised him to lie that Dronacharya's son Ashwatthama is dead. And Yudhishthira refused because Yudhishthira said, this is not true. Dronacharya's son is still alive. So it is then Bhima killed an elephant called Ashwatthama. And then Yudhishthira felt a little bit more comfortable. And he said to Dronacharya, Ashwatthama is dead. Ashwatthama. And then he whispered, the elephant is dead. So this was a case where Krishna, the absolute truth, the absolute person, the supreme personality of God, told Yudhishthira to say an untruth. Now, how can the absolute truth tell Yudhishthira something which is untruthful to say? He can't. So Yudhishthira, he actually protested, and that protest led to his chariot sinking, because his chariot was always 6 inches above the ground. It came back down on the ground. Some people say, oh, it's because he told a lie, but he didn't, because he was instructed by the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, to say it. So whatever Krishna says cannot be the untruth. It has to be the truth, because he is the absolute truth. So it's a little debatable. We can, there's two different points of view here. But if we're talking about the absolute truth, then he is the absolute truth. Yes.
Yeah, Prabhu, sorry. So Krishna told him to say that the elephant died.
No, he told him that he told him that if you don't tell the Dronacharya that his son is dead, then Dronacharya will destroy your army, completely destroy your army. He's on a roll. But if you tell him that Ashwatthama is dead, he will put down his weapons because he's so attached to his son. But they wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. But then Bhim, he killed an elephant called Ashwatthama. Then Yudhishthira said to Dronacharya, Ashwatthama, the elephant, has died. And Dronacharya believed him, because everybody was saying to Dronacharya, your son is dead, your son is dead. So Dronacharya came to Yudhishthira and said, you are truth personified. You are Dharamraj. Is he dead? Is my son is really dead? And then Yudhishthira said, yes. Ashwatthama, the elephant, is dead. And Dronacharya believed him. And then he put down his weapons and he was killed by Dristadumna.
But he whispered when he said the elephant. Purposely, yeah. Okay.
Some commentators say because of that, his chariot fell from, it was always 6 inches above the ground, but his chariot fell. But actually, it was not that. Well, according to Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it's because he disobeyed the absolute truth, Krishna. He didn't carry out Krishna's order. So interesting, though,
Yeah.
Cleanliness, the third pillar. No illicit relationships. Cleanliness is next to godliness, as we know. Our daily routine, purity of body, we should always have a shower. Sometimes we see people, they have a shower at night and they don't shower in the morning. But actually, once you sleep and you wake up and you do your bodily functions, then you need to take a shower. You need to have to take a shower. So anyway, generally after passing number 2, one should take a shower, even if it's during the daytime. No boyfriend, no girlfriend. That's quite a strong premise of Sanatan Dharma. 7-11. I'm not sure what that is actually. Anyway, example of Lakshmana and Sita. Lakshmana was so chaste. In the forest, Sita was kidnapped, and Ramachandra, they eventually found earrings belonging to Sita, and Ramachandra asked Lakshmana, look, this is the earring of Sita. And Lakshmana said, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. I've never looked at her face. So he was so chaste. He would not look at the face of Sita Mata. So such a great example of chastity, purity of mind. Oh yes, this is quite interesting. 60,000 thoughts every day enter our mind, right? And Krishna explains that the mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy. Now, these thoughts, these 60,000 thoughts, most of them are negative. We're thinking badly about somebody else, or we're thinking badly of ourselves. It's generally negative thinking. We always go down to the worst case scenario. This is the issue. This is the problem. So what Lord Krishna encourages Arjuna to do is to get rid of the negative thoughts. So when the negative thoughts come within our mind, we have to recognize that negative thought and dismiss it, make it into a positive thought. Now, it's not easy to do that because pretty much all of our life we would have been trained, or we have been behaving like that. Negative thoughts come into our mind and we dwell on them. Sometimes we feed off them. Negativity somehow, we feel some comfort in thinking badly of others, and really that is not good for us. It's not good for us because negative thoughts will make us ill. Ultimately, they will not do us any good. Positive thoughts, positive thinking, even in the most dire of situations, positive thinking can change things around drastically. There was an example given in the scriptures of this. I can't remember what sort of bird it was. It was a hawk, I think, or something like that. And the hawk was always under difficulty, it's always struggling. And she met, I think, Garud. And she asked Garud, how long am I going to suffer like this? And Garud said, okay, I'll find out, So when Garud was with Vishnu, he asked, this hawk asked me a question. How long is he going to suffer? So then I think, yeah, Vishnu said to Guru, tell her to thank God for everything, even negative things that come in your life. Thank God. Thank you. Thank you, my Lord. If you fall over, thank you, my Lord. Because that's one less karma I have to worry about. Thank you, my Lord. Just thank the Lord. So this advice was given by Garud to the hawk. And just before that, actually, Vishnu said that this hawk will have to suffer for many, many years. Anyway, Garud went to see the hawk, told him what Vishnu said, that just thank him, thank God for everything. And she started doing that. She started thanking God. She'll not have any food. Thank you, my Lord. I'll fast today. It was always a positive. Anything negative, she put a positive slant to it. But the next time Garud saw this hawk, the hawk there was no more suffering. There was happiness around her. And Garud was really surprised. He went back to Vishnu and said, hey, what happened here, my dear Lord? She was supposed to suffer for many, many years, but it's only been a few months. And, her life is just completely changed. She's so happy now. Everything's around her is so positive and good. And the Lord explained to Garud, yes, because she thanked God for everything. She burnt up her past karmas very, very quickly. Because she was always in appreciation of the Lord. Whether it was positive or negative, it didn't matter. But that positivity completely transformed her luck. So this is quite an interesting slant on negative thinking. We have to try to put a positive slant on everything rather. Cultivating seeing positive qualities in others. So there's a phenomenal example. Dronacharya asked Yudhishthir. No, let's do the other way around. Dronacharya asked Duryodhan, go in the town of Hastinapur, find somebody better than you. Duryodhan went everywhere. He met everybody. He came back to Dronacharya and he said, can't find anybody better than me. I'm the best. I.e., he was looking down on everybody. Dronacharya asked Yudhishthir, go into town and find somebody worse than you. Yudhishthir went into town. Then later he came back to Dronacharya. He said to Dronacharya, I couldn't find anybody worse than me. In other words, he saw positive qualities in everybody. He wasn't demeaning himself because he's Yudhishthir. He knows his position as Dharamraj. But he also saw the positive qualities in everyone. So this is really good. If we can adopt this positive mood, seeing good in others, even we may have some opinion, but put our opinion aside. It will make us happy. We will be in a happy place. Okay, next one, austerity, no intoxications. 3 types of happiness. Oh, yeah. So 3 types of happiness Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter. He says that happiness which in the beginning is nectar, but in the end turns to poison, is happiness in the mode of passion. That happiness which is poison in the beginning, poison in the end is ignorance. That happiness which is nectar in the beginning, poison in the beginning, but nectar in the end is happiness in the mode of goodness. So like this chanting, that's the best example. When we start chanting, it's so hard, right? It's very, very hard to do chanting. So we keep at it. It's poison in the beginning, but we keep at it. We keep chanting, we keep chanting, keep chanting, keep chanting. And sometime in the future, it will turn into nectar when we realize when we are chanting, we are with the Supreme Lord. We are one-to-one with the we can communicate with the Supreme Lord. We can show our gratitude, tell him how happy we are that he is allowing us to be with him for this time when we're chanting. Turns into nectar. No alcohol, no drugs. Even caffeine should be avoided. So tea and coffee includes caffeine. Ideally, we should try to avoid tea and coffee if possible. They have so many alternatives now. Tea and coffee without caffeine. What is caffeine? Caffeine, some people, they don't have a cup of tea in the morning, they'll have a headache. Well, we don't want any addictions. We don't want to be dependent on any cup of tea or anything for our mental state or our physical state. So there should be no addictions if we can help it. If we are addicted to something, we try to come off that addiction, because we don't want to be attached to anything. So we avoid it. 262 is Dhyayato Vishaya Pumsa. As soon as we see something, we have an attachment for that object, that sense object. Also avoiding wasting time on television, games. This is quite important. Oh my goodness. So actually there's not that much more, I think. Let me just see. Oh, what's going on? One second. Let me just see what's there. No, I'll tell you what, let's continue Monday. There's a lot more. So that's it. Any questions, any comments? Okay, stop there. Sanatan Dharma ki jai.
Prabhuji, sorry, one
Oh,
question.
yes, of course, Bhavin.
What, how it works out if somebody has hurt you in the past, and how can you
very good question.
How can you get a positive thing? That getting how put is sometimes it's running in your mind. Oh, this person has hurt me so much.
Correct.
And
very
the
good.
way you asked, the way you said just now, that think positive, the thoughts you think positive thoughts. But how to clear those thoughts from the mind?
Yes, when somebody
Thank
has
you.
hurt you, it becomes hard, because when you see that person, you remember the hurt.
Yeah.
It's very true. The thing is, what we can try to understand is, this is our karma. We were meant to suffer that. And that person who made us suffer is the instrument. He is not the reason why I'm suffering. He is simply delivering that suffering. He's the instrument. But I am suffering because I have done something in the past which is led to this suffering. So we take ownership. When we take ownership, then it becomes very easy not to blame somebody, because we blame ourselves. Okay, I've done something wrong in the past to suffer this. No problem. I take responsibility. I will not blame anybody. It's my own fault. And I will learn from that. I will try to improve my behavior, my thinking. Does that make sense, Praveen?
Yes, quite a lot.
Yeah, because then even somebody has offended us, no problem. We will not hold that against them.
I have learned one thing. I started let it go. That's it.
Let it go. Excellent.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
A little bit more than letting it go is that sometimes we can even thank that person for delivering that karma. Not directly, within our mind.
Yeah, mind.
Because if it wasn't for you,
Yeah.
I'll still be having this false ego.
And you have learned from them.
And we've learned. Yes, that's it. We've learned.
Yeah.
That's right. Very good.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a very good question. Thank you. Okay, so let's stop.